Hello legends and super legends, welcome to Veloharmony. Today what I wanted to talk about are a couple of things about training. I wanted to discuss why I don't use a power meter anymore. And I know a lot of people may disagree, and that's fine, but everybody's an individual and you have to kind of find out what works for you. Before the advent of power meters was when I competed, in the 90s to the early 2000s. And I never used the power meter. I always used a heart rate monitor, which I still use today. And when power meters came about, I tried them. They were okay for a while, but it felt like I was in a lab every time I went out to ride. It didn't feel like I was going out and just riding my bike and getting the enjoyment I used to get out of using perceived exertion. Perceived exertion is what I use, and it's worked for me successfully. What it is that I go by feel. Am I feeling great today? Am I feeling faster than I did the week before at this same perceived effort? Is an effort of 7 out of 10 feeling easier today versus last week or whatever? And that's how you know your training is kind of progressing along. I still use that when I work with people somewhat, but some people prefer the numbers, and that's okay. I can look at the numbers and see if your watts are improving at the same heart rate and so forth and so on. But the reason I'm making this video is to let you guys know that you don't need a power meter to get faster on a bike. It is very specific and it does give you good feedback. But for me, when I get out on my bike, I want to go over that hill feeling fast, like I went over it faster, regardless of what watts I'm carrying. I want to be on top of my gear because that's my style. That's how I ride. Whether I'm doing a time trial or just out riding, I want to feel like I'm going fast. I want to feel the speed, and that's kind of what I go with. So if I go out and I'm not feeling great and whatever, I can tell by my exertion level that, hey, in this zone, especially if I glance at my heart rate numbers, at 165, it shouldn't feel this hard, then I know that, okay, something's off with your training. Either you're tired or you haven't done enough work. That's the reason why I don't use that. And what ended up happening today was I got a link from cyclingfans.com. It's one of the sites that I use. And there was a video there with GCN put a video out. I believe it's on YouTube, and I will show just a short clip of it here where Taylor Finney is chatting with Simon, and he explains the same thing, that he doesn't use a power meter. He doesn't look at numbers. He doesn't have any radio in his ear when he's doing his time trialing because he wants to just feel the effort. He wants to feel the speed. And so I kind of smiled, and that gave me the motivation to come and make this video because I wanted to share with you guys that you don't have to have a power meter to get faster. Some people need that to push themselves, but you have to know who you are. But I wanted to stress the fact that you can get faster just by going out, riding your bike, and doing it by feel. On the basis of 1 out of 10, does it feel like I'm at 10 or I'm at 5? That can be a level to use for an exertion. It's not as accurate to the watt like a power meter is, but I wanted to stress that works just as well if you're focused enough and you have a program knowing that today I'm going hard, today I'm going easy, and so forth and so on. One of the legends on here had put a request asking for me to do a video about how you should feel in each zone. And so I wanted to incorporate it in this zone because that's kind of what in this video, because that's what I use. So basically for zone one should feel easy. There's no strain, no pain. It's easy. It's like you can chat with no problems. That's zone 1, easy. You don't even feel the gear much. And usually you use that for recovery, the active recovery. Zone 2 is more of an endurance feeling, meaning I can do this forever. You can do this all day long, all week. Zone 2 should be where you can hold a conversation without being out of breath and pretty much go forever. It's harder than zone 1, but not as hard as zone 3, which is tempo. And that means you can talk, you can chat, you're comfortable, you can be on the bike all day long. That's your steady, long, steady distance zone. Zone 3, tempo. It's a little harder than endurance, but less than zone 4. And zone 4 is getting closer to threshold. So zone 3 is kind of the zone where you don't want to spend too much time in there because you don't get the maximum benefits out of that zone, because it's almost like an average speed. You're better off training either in zone 2 and zone 4 and use zone 3 as a pass through. But zone 3, yeah, you can hold a conversation. There will be no gasping for air, but it's a little harder than endurance, but you're still fairly comfortable. Now zone 4 is where you can't hold consistent conversation. You can talk from time to time, but it's not comfortable to where you can have a long, drawn out conversation. It's an intense zone. It's a little below threshold. And that's the zone that you get the most benefit for your training on your hard days. Okay, zone 4 should feel hard, but not to where you're dying. And then zone 5 should feel like I can only do this for a short while. Whereas zone 4, you can do it for 30 minutes to an hour or so. You know, it's a fine line, and you kind of have to. That's why I like to use feel. I want to feel that I can do this pace forever. I want to feel like I can, you know, do this pace for maybe 10 minutes when I break away. That's why I don't subscribe to a lot of timed intervals. If you want to train your body to go in a certain zone for a period of time, you need to just go ahead and push your body to do the distance and not limit yourself to blocks of time. So zone 5 is something that you can maintain for short periods, a heavy acceleration, closing a gap, getting up there, attacking, and then you back it down to about threshold to maintain, which is zone 4. So zone 4 will be the zone where after you get a gap, you would stay in to maintain that gap. But you can't be chatting in that zone. You can talk in short bursts with a few words comfortably, but you can't hold a long drawn out conversation in zone 4 comfortable, because you will get out of breath, because you know it's a hard zone. And then zone 5, yeah, you're not going to be doing maybe 1 or 2 words if you even want to talk at all. But zone 5 is your attacking zone. You're above threshold. You're pushing yourself. You're doing anaerobic efforts to open gaps and different things. There's short bursts like sprinting and so forth. And so I just wanted to add that in this video. So I don't train with a power meter by choice. The second reason is they don't make a power meter that is reliable for me to easily transfer between all the bikes that I have. And power meters are not that inexpensive to where I can invest in different kinds. And I'd much rather have something that is trouble-free, hands-free, almost like a cyclo computer that I can move from bike to bike. And so for me, it's not a need. I train well without it. I've done well without it. So I don't consider it to be something that I need in my repertoire. And I wanted to share that with you guys, those of you who may be on the fence, thinking that you need a power meter. No, you don't need a power meter. What you need is to make sure your bike fits you. And secondly, have a training plan. Have a training plan that tells you which zones you need to be working in and describes which zones and how they feel, so that you can identify with or without a heart rate monitor. I use my heart rate monitor, but I don't rely on it. I glance on it periodically from time to time. That's it. I can tell by feel what I'm in zone 1 and so forth and so on. So especially when you've taken a lot of time off the bike, you want to ease back into your training. You want to come out and just kill. So I got tired of just going out looking at numbers. And at the time, the power meter I used was the Cyclops rear wheel, the hub that they have in the hub. And you're stuck with that wheel. So every time I changed wheels, it was a hassle. So I decided to sell it and get rid of it and just do without it. And so that has worked for me. So been there, tried it, because I'm an open-minded kind of person. I've tried it. It was okay. It didn't really change the way I trained, because all it did was give me feedback on numbers. But I didn't feel like it really enhanced that much for me. I'm more the kind of rider that thrives on feel. You know, if a hill pops up, I want to be on top of the gear and get over that hill. I don't really care what the watts say, you know, but I just wanted to wrap. So let me wrap up by saying that if you don't have a power meter or you can't afford a power meter, it shouldn't stop you from improving. What you need to improve is make sure you get a bike that fits you and get a trainer. I really believe in that, so that your busy schedule interferes. You can ride in your home. You can ride consistently. It's consistent training, focused in the right zones. Get somebody to help you identify what your zones are. And that's why I really like the heart rate monitor for new riders, because you can set a zone 2, and then as you get fitter, you can see, wow, this zone 2 is feeling easier. And then you get to know that, oh, I'm going faster in my zone 2. So it gives you a good reference to come to periodically. But really, even without a heart rate monitor, you'll be able to tell that, okay, I'm in this gear today. The conditions appear to be the same, and I feel like I'm going faster. So perceived exertion is very effective, meaning that I don't feel like I'm even doing 50%, but I feel like I'm going faster. So perceived exertion work. It does require you to be in tune with yourself. And that may not work for everybody. So the guys who have the power meters, I'm not saying they're not valuable, but for me, it felt like I was in the lab all the time, every ride. I don't like to do that. I just want to go out and ride and enjoy the dynamics of the ride, enjoy how my body feels, enjoy how the speed feels when I get on top of a gear. And that's my style. So, you can share your experiences, but those of you who are out there riding and don't have a plan, contact us. We'll put a plan together for you because you need a plan. If you want to get better, you need a plan. And I also wanted to add that if you've been out there and you've been riding and you're not making any progress, we can help you evaluate what you've been doing and see how we can make changes to your training to help you either drop the weight you want to lose and so forth and so on. Because you've got to be gradual about what you do. Don't just go out there and go from 1 hour a week to 10 hours a week. You have to gradually build up so you don't overstress your body. So with that, I want you to get out there, get your miles in, and don't let anything stop you.